We've officially made it through 33% of the college football season. Most teams, if not all teams, have already played 4 games this season. That means they only have 8 games left. That means we have week 5 on our hands. Look, folks, there's some sadness in my heart right now because we're a third of the way through the college football season. That stinks. It's flown by. It's been an exhilarating season through the first 4 weeks of the season, and we are just getting started. We have quite possibly the best week of college football on our hands here in week 5. This could be the greatest college football Saturday of all time. People are saying this may go down as a day to be remembered in the history of this country. Yeah, up there with 4th of July, Independence Day, up there with other historic days that we celebrate in this country. This could go down as one of those. Let me think off the top of my head. Christmas, Thanksgiving, that could be this type of Saturday that we are going to experience here in the United States of America, where we have the greatest sport in the country, the greatest sport in the entire world. That is college football, and we will have a glorious, a fun, an exciting, a thrilling, name all the words that you can throw out there. That is going to be what this Saturday is. Week 5 is here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into the show. It is me, Ian Fritts, of the Ian Fritts Show. Subscribe down below, comment what you're looking forward to on week 5, and I will respond. We have a packed show. I mean, this could be the longest show in the history of the Ian Fritts Show. I think right now the longest show in the history is maybe 48 minutes, and that was a long one. I believe that was a recap show. I don't think we've ever done a 48-minute preview show. I could talk about 35 different games in this one show today. It could go down as a historic show for the Ian Fritts Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to jump right in because enough lollygagging. We got games to talk about. I got 3 previews coming your way. Then we have upset alerts. There's a lot of them. And then we have the picks for every single top 25 team this weekend. Let's get into it. Side note, Ryder Cup is this weekend. USA, baby. 150-0. However the points work out, we're winning, baby. Come on. First game up, it's Alabama at Georgia, number 17, heading to number 5. At the time of this video, Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite. Do you guys remember this game last year? Georgia went all the way to Tuscaloosa. First year, Kalen DeBoer. They went up 28 points, and it was looking like, oh, Kalen DeBoer, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's this going to be? What's this going to be? You go up 28-10. And then here come the Crimson Tide. Here come the Crimson Tide. This was the most exciting, the best game college football had last year. It was unbelievable. Everyone watching this game, you looked away for a second. You thought, oh, man, Georgia is running away with this thing. It's over. Second half comes around. Alabama storms back and gives us an all-time classic of a football game. Can it happen again? Are we in store for something similar this year? Are we going to get an all-time classic? Georgia just played in an all-time classic 2 weeks ago. Alabama, they've only played in one meaningful game this year, and they got their butt handed to them in week 1 against Florida State. But do we have an all-time classic on our hands? I think we have the makings for it. We have all the ingredients, the seasonings necessary for an all-time classic here in Athens, Georgia. Now, will it happen again? We shall see. Going to jump into what we know about each of these teams. If you're new here, I like to break down the games based on what I know for each team, and then my biggest questions for each team. What I know, we'll start with the visiting team, like we always do. Alabama. What do I know about Alabama? Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about Alabama right now. They've had one meaningful football game. They got destroyed in week 1 at Florida State. Here's what I think I know, though. I think I know that Ty Simpson, this is not his first test, okay? Week 1 against Florida State, that was his first test. You kind of threw him out there. What do we get from Ty Simpson? How does it really look? Is it a nice performance from Ty Simpson? What are we going to get? We don't really know. He hasn't been tested. Now we know. We know. He's been tested. He's been on the road. Tallahassee, not an easy place to go win. Not an easy place to go win. Ty Simpson has experience. He's not facing an environment, an atmosphere that is completely foreign. I'm not saying the atmosphere in Athens isn't going to be more hostile than that one in Tallahassee. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But the feel, starting quarterback on the road in a big time football game, it's not an odd place for him to be. He's got that one start under his belt. You get more comfortable as things go on. Now, in that game, it did not go well. It did not go well. Now, does that hinder what he does in this game against Georgia? We will find out. But what I know is that he should be more comfortable in this football game than he was in week 1 on the road at Florida State. Second thing I know about Alabama is they're going to have to air the ball out. We just talked about Ty Simpson right there. We said, this guy's got experience. One time, not a ton. He has it, though, under his belt. Whether it's good or bad, you have to get those reps in, and he has them. And they're going to need him in this football game against Georgia. They have to air the football out. That is a definitive statement. I believe that is how Alabama can win this football game. It is how they won the football game last year against Georgia. They have to attack the secondary of this Georgia Bulldog football team. Tennessee gave the blueprint for how you beat Georgia. They gave the blueprint. You air the football out. You're not going to be able to run on this team. You have to throw it downfield. You have to attack, double moves, whatever you got to do, Kalen DeBoer and Ty Simpson. Get the ball into Ryan Williams' hands, get them into Jeremy Bernard's hands, and let those guys make plays, okay? Let them make plays. Georgia, they've struggled in the secondary this year. Alabama has to air the ball out for them to win this football game. What do we know about the Georgia Bulldogs? Well, first thing, I didn't even have this, but first thing is that place, Athens, Georgia, on Saturday night, is going to be absolutely electric. It will be. I believe they're doing a blackout. Could be wrong on that, but I believe they are doing a blackout. Last I saw, that will look so awesome. That place is going to be rocking, and it's going to be loud. Alabama needs to prepare. Okay, I'm not sure how you prepare for it. Don't really think you can, but you got to be ready. You got to be ready. What do I know about Georgia? The first thing I know about Georgia is they have a head coaching advantage. Okay, I believe Kirby Smart is greater than Kalen DeBoer. Now, a few years ago, Washington, maybe some people thought Kalen DeBoer was the greatest head coach of all time. They thought he was going to be the next Nick Saban. Funny enough, he ended up at Alabama. We have quickly come to realize that Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban. He is anything but Nick Saban. He is not even, shouldn't even be in the same sentence as Nick Saban. Kirby Smart, better head coach than Kalen DeBoer. That is big. Head coaching advantage is huge in games like this where the spread is less than 3 points. How do I know that? Oh, there was one, Georgia versus Tennessee 2 weeks ago. They had a head coaching advantage. It ended up working in their favor because of that. Because Kirby Smart knows how to adjust in game better than any other coach in college football. He can do it. Head coaching advantage for the Georgia Bulldogs. The second thing I know is because I watched all of that Florida State-Alabama game in week 1, I know that Georgia offensively, they have to attack the edge of this Alabama defense. Can't go right at them. Cannot go right at them. And from what I've seen from Georgia's running attack and passing attack, the edges of the defense are their strength. So outside run, outside run, outside run. That's what Georgia needs to be thinking in the run game. Attack the edge, attack the edge, attack the edge. Georgia has the speed to attack the edge. You saw it in overtime against Tennessee. When he gets to the outside, he can pop those runs and get to where he needs to get to because he's faster than everybody. Frazier. He is faster. If you don't know who Frazier is, Nate Frazier, running back for Georgia. He's faster than everybody. All you got, if we watched one thing in the Alabama-Florida State game, it was that speed killed Alabama. Speed killed Alabama. If you're Georgia, you have speed for days. Zachariah Branch, yeah, that kid can run. Nate Frazier, that kid can run. Your offensive line, you got 7-foot dudes that run well. Okay, you're going to have to attack the edge of this defense. That is how you will win this football game if you're the Georgia Bulldogs. Florida State gave them the blueprint in the same way that Tennessee gave the blueprint to beat Georgia for Alabama. Florida State gave the blueprint on how to beat Alabama for Georgia. Okay, you got to. I'm not saying anything these coaching staffs don't know. They watch the games that are the most, that are the closest games that give them the most challenges. Obviously, Alabama struggled. Georgia struggled against Tennessee. Coaches watch those games, see how they struggled, why they struggled. It's because of those two things we mentioned here. That's what we know about these two teams. Couple questions for these two teams. First up, Alabama. My biggest question: can they slash how much are they even going to try and run the football against Georgia? I have what I think. I think they will need. I think they need to run the football, at least some, to win this football game. And you're thinking, Ian, didn't you just say? Didn't you just say they got to air it out to win the football game? Yeah, I think that is going to be the majority of their offense. But they're gonna have to be able to run the ball against light boxes. Okay, they have not been able to do that against, albeit Florida State, their one opponent, and they were down in that game. How much does it really factor in? And are they getting Jam Miller back? If they get Jam Miller back, you like the ability for Alabama to try and start to run the ball. They have not been good at it this year. They weren't good at it last year, other than Jalen Milroe. Can they run the ball against Georgia? Nobody really has been able to against Georgia. Tennessee couldn't run the ball against Georgia. Josh Heupel still tried. He still tried to run the ball. He didn't give up. You got to have that consistency. You can't let Georgia make you one-dimensional. You have to keep pounding the rock even when it's not working. Second biggest question for Alabama. How many penalties are we going to get in this game? How many are we going to have? Are we going to have 10, 20, 15? None of those numbers are out of the question with this Kalen DeBoer team. He has double-digit penalties in virtually every single game he's coached, every single meaningful game he's coached, every single road game he's coached. I believe they've had at least 8 penalties in every road game under Kalen DeBoer. Where's this game being played at? Oh, on the road. Okay, penalties will kill you in a tight game like this, which, judging by all factors, everyone's anticipating a tight football game. Do they still have those disciplinary issues? Because that's what penalties are. You got to be disciplined. You got to play sound, disciplined football on the road. On the road. How many false starts are we getting in critical situations? Is it a 3rd and 2 heading into Georgia's end zone? You're up 1. You have a chance to go score and make it more. False start. Boom. 3rd and 7. Now that you get sacked on 3rd down. Boom. It's 4th and 15. You're punting instead of kicking a 45-yard field goal. That can happen because of one mental error that these Kalen DeBoer teams have. And they've had them in every single game, especially on the road. Do they still have those? To answer these questions, if Alabama can run the ball, it's going to be a good day. It is going to be a good day for the Crimson Tide. If they don't have these disciplinary issues, if they can keep it under 5 penalties, you're going to be pretty successful. Combine those two, Alabama may win by double digits, ladies and gentlemen. Alabama may win by double digits. You don't do either of those two things, they may lose by 15. You got to be able to run the ball. You cannot have double-digit penalties like you have always had under Kalen DeBoer. Biggest question for Georgia. This really isn't a question about the team, the talent on the team. I had them going 11-1 in the preseason. I still like that projection, that prediction. My question is addressed to Kirby. It's addressed to Kirby Smart. And it is this. Kirby, just me and you talking. You can be honest with me. Do you purposely lose to Alabama? How big of an issue is Alabama for you? Because seemingly, you look at your record against everyone else, 107-19 is Kirby Smart's head coaching record at Georgia. 107 wins to only 19 losses. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good if you ask me. And you're thinking, yeah, Ian, that's really good. That's really good. Where are you going with this? He's 1-6 against Alabama. Now, he was 1-5 against Nick Saban. Some say it's a Nick Saban problem. And that's probably to some extent true. Better head coach, protege, you always have the upper hand. But then you look at last year, and you think Georgia put this, you think Kirby Smart and Georgia put this Alabama bug to bed. They were up 28-10. They were cruise control. And then sure enough, here comes Alabama, and they win the football game. And you're thinking, oh, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that. Maybe it is an Alabama issue. Do you still have that Alabama issue, Kirby? Because if you can be honest with me, if the answer is yes, then I need to pick Alabama to win this football game. So I don't look like a dum-dum. But if it's no, it's Georgia Bulldogs all the way. It is Georgia Bulldogs all the way. Now, who do I have winning this football game? If all the things I thought I know about these teams, if all of my questions get answered positively or negatively, doesn't matter to me. I can only go one way with this, and I think it is the Georgia Bulldogs win. It is because they are at home. I trust their quarterback more. I trust their head coach more. I like Georgia to win and Georgia to cover. Next game up, we have Oregon at Penn State. Going to take a sip here from the patented mug. I'm going to take 2 sips, actually. While I'm taking the second sip, you can go ahead and drop down below. Comment who you've got in the Alabama-Georgia game and why. And if you got Alabama, really, I'm going to need you to explain why, man, because I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. Georgia has speed. They can get it done. Subscribe down below. Comment, like, while I take this other sip here. And if you want one of these mugs, put your email down there. We'll send you one. We will send you one. Next game preview up. Oregon at Penn State. This is a top 10 matchup, folks. This is a top 10 matchup. You're thinking, oh, Oregon. You're coming to Happy Valley. You're going all the way across the country. This is about as far in the United States of America. Let's draw the United States of America. I'm going to try to draw it backwards for you. Florida, New York. I guess I drew it backwards for me. Right side for me. So it was backwards for you. Penn State, Oregon, you get the gist. These teams are on opposite sides of the continent, yet they're in the same conference. Don't know how we ended up here. Oh, yes, I do. Money. Number 6 at number 3. Penn State's currently favored by 3.5. Look, they're both undefeated. We know that. They're both in the top 10. They both have talented teams. They both have head coaches that seemingly sometimes stumble in big moments, but one of them's been doing it a lot longer and stumbling a lot more. The other one is just flat out saying whatever he wants, and he's awesome. I'll let you decide who's who. They both had quarterbacks that people loved coming into the season. One of them has been a starter for 2 years and had some time 3 years ago getting some reps. The other one was a starter his freshman year, took a year off, and then came back this year. Oregon's coming off a civil war, just an absolute war. Not really. It was a domination against Oregon State. No offense to the Beavers. We love you. We respect you. Penn State's coming off, some would say, a bye week. They didn't play last week, and you're thinking, oh, whoa, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. It doesn't seem right because it's not, okay? Oregon's playing a rivalry game. The week before, they have to travel across the country, 3 time zones, to go to Happy Valley, a whiteout game for Penn State, at night, off of a rested Penn State, where the Penn State Nittany Lions had 2 weeks to prepare for your Oregon Ducks. That doesn't seem right. It's not. The scheduling dynamics favor Penn State here by a lot. That's probably why they're at the 3.5. Judging just purely based on what we've seen on the football field this year, Oregon has looked like the better football team. You factor in the home field, traveling across 3 time zones, Penn State coming off of a bye, you get the 3.5 for Penn State. This game is very interesting for a lot of reasons. Mainly because I think there's a lot more questions for each of these teams than there are known factors for both of these teams, okay? It's kind of similar to the Texas Tech-Utah game last week in a way, where we knew less about the teams than we did. We'll know more about the teams leaving this football game than we did going in. Like, we knew nothing about Texas Tech and Utah going into that game last week. We basically know nothing about Penn State for sure, and for the most part, Oregon. You look at their schedules, they've played a bunch of cupcakes, okay, so far. Not their fault. That's just how it works. They will be tested in this football game. Let's get into what I think I know about these 2 teams. Again, really nothing. I don't think I know a lot about Oregon. I don't even have one down. Other than that, I love Dan Lanning, and I think he's a really good head coach, and he will have his boys prepared to play 3 time zones. Doesn't matter, 12 time zones. They could be playing this game in China, and Dan Lanning would have his boys ready to roll. That's what I know. What do I know about Penn State? The defense is really, really good. Okay? We saw it last year. They were really, really good against everybody they played. It's the same group, a couple new players here or there. They haven't had a drop off. The defense is really, really good for Penn State. That's what I know. You're thinking, Ian, that's not a lot. You basically know nothing about these two teams. Yeah, we know nothing about these two teams because they haven't played anybody. They haven't played anybody worth anything, okay? Oregon played Oklahoma State, maybe the worst team of all time. They played Oregon State, one of the worst teams this year. And they played Northwestern. They stink. Penn State, you couldn't even name any of their teams that they've played because they all are horrible. The weakest Power 5 schedule up until this point in the season. My biggest questions for each of these teams. Number one, for Oregon, is Dante Moore legit? Is he that guy? Does he have what it takes to go on the road in one of the toughest places to win in the entire country in a whiteout game, win on the road against a top 5 opponent when they're screaming at you, top of their lungs, 100,000 people, as loud as it can get? You gotta drive to go win this football game, Dante Moore. Does he have what it takes? Does Dante Moore have what it takes? That's my biggest question. This is his first real test as a starter at Oregon. Okay, you can talk about what you want to talk about when he was a freshman, true freshman at UCLA, whether that was he was tested there or not. Okay, maybe the toughest game there was Utah 2 years ago. He didn't play last year. This is by far and away the toughest test for Dante Moore up until this point in his college football career. You can say maybe Northwestern has been his toughest road game so far. You look at that. He didn't play great at Northwestern, and there were about 12 fans screaming at him that game. There's going to be a lot more than 12 fans screaming at you this game, Dante Moore. That's my biggest question for Oregon. Can Dante Moore play in this type of environment? Play in this type of environment. Second thing for Oregon, is this defense as advertised? It was a similar question I had for Texas Tech last week. Is the defense as good statistically, as good in reality as they are statistically? Okay, you look at the secondary, the passing statistics for Oregon this year. They're top 5 pass defense in the country this year through 4 weeks. You're thinking, wow, that's really good. It is really good. It is really good. But is that a farce? Is that a mirage? Or is that reality? If it's reality, might be a long day for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Might be a long day for that offense if this is legitimate. If it's not, if it's a farce, which some are saying it is because the offenses, the passing offenses Oregon has faced up until this point in the season, average out to the 100 ranked offense in the country, passing offense in the country. And against the run, they've been a middle-of-the-road defense stopping the run this year. You know who really likes to run the football? The Penn State Nittany Lions. That's what they like to do. They have 2 really good backs. 2 really, really good backs. NFL backs. Similar to Ohio State last year. NFL backs. Now, they don't have all the weapons. Ohio State, not the same matchup. We get that. Statistically speaking, the defense has been awesome for Oregon this year. Is that reality? That's my second biggest question. Let's answer those questions. If Dante Moore is that guy, if this pass defense is legitimate top 5 unit in the country, they're going to go into Happy Valley and win by 25. Because Dan Lanning doesn't care. He's going to put points on the board if these 2 things are true. If these 2 things are false, it's going to be a long day for Dante Moore. It's going to be a long day for that secondary. It's going to be a long day if you're an Oregon Duck fan. Penn State, my biggest question for Penn State. Do you regret keeping Drew Aller, whoever, whatever you want to call him? Again, I addressed this in the preseason. I'm not going to call him by however it's supposed to be pronounced until he does something on the field that earns it in my mind. Okay, he hasn't done anything on the field to make me say his name correctly. And I'm not purposely saying it incorrectly. I honestly don't know. And I just say however it comes out of my mouth. Drew Aller. Do you regret, Penn State, James Franklin, do you regret keeping Drew Aller instead of Bo Pribula? Do you regret it? Do you regret it? I was tooting Bo Perula's horn all last year saying, you need to start this guy. This is the better quarterback for your offense. This is the guy that is going to lead you to the promised land. And everybody ignored me. Ian, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. Fast forward to this year, Bo Perula starts balling out at Missouri. There are rumors, rumblings in Happy Valley that, hey, maybe we made the wrong decision. Maybe we made the wrong decision. Maybe we shouldn't have kept Drew Allar. Maybe that was wrong of us. Do those regrets show themselves in this game against Oregon? If they do, might be a long day for you guys. You might have that regret, and that might cost you a national championship. Because Drew Allar seemingly looks like he's regressed this year. He has not looked like that guy this year. And maybe he elevates his play on Saturday night. I don't think he will. Maybe he does. Maybe he elevates his play on Saturday night. If he does, great day for Penn State. You get a good win against a top 10 opponent in the Oregon Ducks. Congratulations. You are 4-0. Now, how do I see this game playing out? I have Penn State winning this football game, which means I have them covering the 3.5. Well, not necessarily, but I do have them covering the 3.5. Look, the dynamics, the schedule dynamics, I keep coming back to. The fact that it is a home game Saturday night, the fact that Oregon has to travel across the entire country to play this football game, the fact that Dante Moore has never been in this type of situation before, and the fact that Oregon is okay against the rush this year, and that is what Penn State will do to them on Saturday night. All of those things factor in. I see a Penn State win, and I see them win by more than 3.5. I was going to say 7 to 8. I'm not there yet, but I do have Penn State winning this football game on Saturday night. Next game up, the last one I have for you, LSU at Ole Miss. Going to take a sip here again. Oh, that's good, man. If you guys aren't drinking water, I implore you to be drinking water, because water quenches your thirst. And it's really good for you. It's really good for you. I couldn't tell you all the benefits, but it keeps you not dehydrated. Something about sweat, probably. Enough about that. LSU at Ole Miss. We got a big-time game to talk about here. Big-time game. I could have gone... I typically do 3 game previews each week, no matter what, unless we have a real stinker of a week. I could have gone many different ways with these games this week. I could have done 12 previews. We stick it with 3, and we do a bunch of baby previews here during the picks and the upset alerts. We got a big one. LSU, number 4, at Ole Miss, number 13. Who's favored in this game? I just told you, LSU's ranked number 4, Ole Miss is ranked number 13. You're thinking, oh, Ian, LSU. Aren't they number 4 because they're really, really good and they're the best ever? No. Ole Miss is favored in this game by 1.5 at the time of this video. Could change, always could change. It's interesting. Kind of a similar situation that we had last week, where Indiana was hosting a top 10 team in Illinois. The Indiana was favored. Ole Miss is favored here. Indiana ran Illinois out of their building. Is Ole Miss going to do the same thing here? I don't think so, but you never know. Because just like Illinois and Indiana, these two teams have not been tested. It's a very interesting game to look at statistically. And if you know anything about this show, I pick all of my games initially, boom, right when I see the matchup, right when I see the line, that is the pick I go with. I don't look at anything other than what I've seen in the field through X amount of weeks and what my gut instinct tells me. That's what I pick games based off of. Okay, so I already had the pick locked in before I looked at any of these statistics. But we're going to jump into the statistics here. Man, if you say that word 12 times fast, it gets a little sticky. These two teams coming into the season kind of profiled where we were talking about LSU having maybe one of the best offenses in the entire country. A lot of people were saying those things, me being one of them. And sure enough, hey, we're 4 weeks in the season. That's not true. Ole Miss, we were thinking, oh, you lose Jackson Dart, you lose a lot of big-time players on defense, you're going to regress heavily, probably. Oh, through 4 weeks, that hasn't happened. Let's look at it. This is a strength-on-strength, weakness-on-weakness game. That's what I know about these two teams collectively. Let's look at it. Strength versus strength. LSU's defense versus Ole Miss's offense. Let's look at the numbers here. Ole Miss, they have the number 10 scoring offense. And you're thinking, wow, top 10, that's incredible. That's really good stuff. LSU, Number 7, scoring defense. You're thinking, oh, baby, top 10 battle. Come on, baby. Come on. Ole Miss, they're number 6 in yards per game. LSU, number 14 in yards per game allowed. Ole Miss, number 12 in points per play. I love looking at points per play and yards per play metrics. These are the last two I have for you. A really fun stat to look at. Ole Miss is 12 in points per play. LSU's defense, number 6 in points per play allowed. Really high-level defense there, really high-level offense there from Ole Miss. And the last one, Ole Miss is number 9 in yards per play. LSU's defense is number 9 in yards per play allowed. Okay, so it's clearly, we could go on and on, look at every offense statistic, every defensive statistic for LSU. You can clearly see those are the units these two teams believe in currently, and those are the strengths of these two teams. You could go on and on. Now, a very interesting thing to note about those two strengths is that, for the most part, these two teams haven't been tested. Ole Miss has not been tested by a really good defense. LSU has not been tested by a really good offense. So we have one of these situations. One of those is going to give. One of those is going to give. The average offense that LSU has faced this year ranks out 89th in the entire country. 89th. You're thinking, oh, that's not very good. Yeah, 89th out of 136. The average defense Ole Miss has faced this year ranks out 98th out of 136. Also not very good. So one of those things is going to give. One of those is going to give. Which one happens? Which one gives up first? Are our eyes deceiving us? Our eyes are deceiving us with one of these two teams. Because LSU doesn't have the greatest defense of all time, and Ole Miss doesn't have the greatest offense of all time. One of those is a lie. We will find out on Saturday afternoon which one of those things is a lie. I have a hunch. I have a gut feeling which one it is. We'll talk about my pick here in a second. But one of those will give in. Either LSU defense is going to give up a lot, or Ole Miss's offense is going to get shut down. We will find out what happens on Saturday afternoon. Now, let's talk about weakness versus weakness here. LSU's offense versus Ole Miss's defense. LSU's offense, we'll run through their numbers real quick here. Number 89 in the country in scoring offense, 84 in yards per game, 91 in points per play, 79 in yards per play. Ugh, yikes, gross. LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, all those elite wide receivers. What is going on in Baton Rouge? And you're thinking, oh, they've just played exceptional defenses, Ian. They've played some of the best defenses in the entire country. They've played some good ones, yeah. But the defenses aren't amazing. They are not incredible. The average defense they faced, 44th in the country. You're thinking, oh, that's not very good. Yeah, you face 44th defense in the country, you would want to be a lot higher than 89th in all of these categories. Not good from the LSU's offense this year. Ole Miss's defense, 29th in scoring, 53rd in yards per game, 28th in points per play, 51st in yards per play. So that's very interesting to look at because Ole Miss, top 30 in scoring defense, top 30 in points per play, but they're outside the top 15, both yards per play and yards per game. What does that tell you? They give up yards. They don't break. They bend but don't break. That's the recipe for Ole Miss's defense so far this year. Now, the average offense they faced ranks out 42nd in the entire country. So very comparable both on their strengths and on their weaknesses on level of competition they have played. They're just opposites of each other. And that's how we end up with strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness. Similar teams, just opposites. Who wins this football game? Ian, you go through all these statistics. Well, who cares? Who cares? Yes, yeah, strength versus strength. They haven't played anybody. They haven't been tested on their strengths. They haven't really been tested on their weakness. They haven't played a lot of great teams. What is all this to say? All this to say, we're going to find out who's real. One of these two teams is for real. Because those stats one of them is going to be true at the end of this football game. Either Ole Miss's offense is really that good and their defense is better than we thought, or LSU's defense is a top 5 unit in the entire country and their offense gets things going. We're going to find out which one of these two teams is for real, SEC title contender, national championship per se, title contender. We're going to find out who these teams are on Saturday afternoon. Now, the pick. Again, I go gut instinct, gut reaction here at the Info Show. The gut reaction was always Ole Miss. Give me the Rebels to win this football game. Look, LSU's defense has not been tested by an offense that presents the questions and the problems that Ole Miss's offense does up until this point in the season. Normally, I would take the stronger defense, but what I've seen from Trinidad Chambliss and that rushing attack with Kiwan Lacey, I love Ole Miss's offense in this football game. Give me the Rebels to win this one. Next up, upset alerts. Here, going to take a sip here again. A bunch. I only put 6 up here because the way I do upset alerts on this show is I look at the spread. I say if it's 6 or more, you have a chance to be on this upset alert, okay? If it's less than 6, I don't put it on there because it's less than a touchdown. I like it to be more than a touchdown for me to consider it like an actual upset alert, sound the alarm, okay? So a little higher point spread, like 2.5. Like whatever, Alabama beats Georgia. That's not like technically, yes, it is an upset. It's not like if Alabama was favored by, or if Georgia was favored by 8.5, they'd be on here. But they're not, so we're not talking about it. Yes, technically that could be an upset, but I like to do 6 or more points. We put you on the board. Ohio State at Washington. I bet a lot of you didn't know this was happening. This is an 11 a.m. game, I believe. Might be a 2:30 game. It's an early game on the West Coast. Tough place to play. Ohio State's favored by 9.5 currently. They're going up against a really young quarterback, Damon Williams, a really talented quarterback. Jed Fish, former Arizona head coach. He's a really good head coach. He's been in big moments like this before. Is this the best team that's ever come to town for them? Yeah, it is. It is the best team that's ever come to town. And you have a chance to make a statement if you're Washington. You have a chance to make a statement if you're Damon Williams, Jed Fish, and Washington. Julian Sayin, this is his first time being on the road in a hostile environment. Washington has the sound bouncer backers, okay? They have those little roof things that bounce that sound back to the football field. It's one of the loudest places to play consistently year in and year out. That's not an easy place to go into and play if you're Julian Sayin, okay? How does he handle it? Tennessee at Mississippi State. Oh, baby, this one's going to be good, okay? These games, all 6 of these games are must-see TV, just like the first 3 I did. That's 9 must-see TV games, and we have even more must-see TV games. Woo! Week 5, historic. Josh Heupel on the road, historically, that's where he struggles, on the road. Obviously, most people struggle away from home. And if you struggle away from home, go back home. Georgia gave us the recipe on how to beat Tennessee. They tested them down the field passing the football. You know what Mississippi State's really good at? Throwing the deep ball. A guy named Brandon Thompson, he can run by you. He can run by you and run by you quickly. This one, upset all over it. Notre Dame fighting Irish heading to Arkansas. First time these two teams have ever played, I believe. Arkansas coming off a heartbreaking loss against Memphis. Just you had the win in your grasp, and you lost. 2 weeks ago, they had the win against Ole Miss in their grasp, and they fumbled it away 2 weeks in a row. How does that affect them? Do they have the juice to get it together and be ready to roll against this Notre Dame team that has national championship aspirations after last year? How do they bounce back? How do they respond? How does Notre Dame bounce back? They have 2 losses already. They're 1-2. They have a losing record coming into this football game. A losing record. Auburn at Texas A&M. Auburn just coming off a heartbreaker on the road at Oklahoma. Then they have to go on the road. 100,000, 110,000 Aggie fans strong at Texas A&M. Texas A&M was sitting at home watching that football game with their popcorn, with their soda cans, on the couch with their dog, thinking, oh man, this is the team we get to play next week. That's awesome. We get them at home. They just had to go through this dogfight with Oklahoma, and we get them at home? Oh, baby. Texas A&M's chomping at the bit, but then you look at Auburn and they say, oh, Texas A&M has been tested. That we've seen how to beat them. You just throw the deep ball. You can expose them. Okay? Exciting football game. I expect fireworks out of that one in Texas there. Arizona at Iowa State. Arizona's a sneaky football team this year, flying under the radar right now. Iowa State, their technical marquee win at the beginning of the season against Kansas State, turns out that win stinks. Kansas State, garbage, okay? I don't think we really know a lot about Iowa State. We really don't know anything about Arizona. Upset alert meter right there, baby. And then Florida State at Virginia, Friday night football game. You're thinking, what's the line on this game? It's got to be above 6. 6.5 at the time of this video, so it barely made the cut. I believe that will go up probably, I'm guessing to 8.5 possibly. I would, without a doubt, think that gets to 7.5 based on what we've seen from Florida State this year and how heavily people love Florida State this year, including myself. But Virginia's no slouch of a football team. They can sling the football around, and they have a high potent offense, upset alert worthy for sure. Now, in my mind, I have ranked these upsets in likelihood of them happening. Okay, first up, I believe the most likely upset on this board is Notre Dame at Arkansas. The Fighting Irish at Arkansas. I believe that is the most likely upset because Notre Dame, what did they struggle with against Texas A&M? The deep passing attack. What is Arkansas really good at? The deep passing attack. They have the recipe, and they have a quarterback and wide receivers that can do it and an offense that can do it if you're an Arkansas fan. That is the most likely. Second most likely, Tennessee at Mississippi State. Very similar game in profile to Notre Dame at Arkansas. You also have those cowbells banging. You also have those cowbells ringing. Okay? They can get beat over the top. Now, the same thing is true for Tennessee. They can beat you over the top. So I expect a shootout in both of those football games. Third up, you're thinking, Ian, you're probably going Auburn, Texas A&M, right? No. Ohio State at Washington. People aren't talking about this game at all. Washington is impossible to play at. One of the hardest places to go win at. You have a young quarterback going in there against a really good Washington football team. That is third most likely. Fourth most likely, we have Florida State at Virginia. I have this one a little lower because I just believe in Florida State, and I believe in them to go get a win on Friday night and not be a look-ahead spot for their game against Miami next weekend. At number 5, we have Arizona at Iowa State. Less likely than these other ones, strictly because I'm not sure I'm buying what Arizona's selling through 3 weeks of the season, through 4 weeks of the season. Haven't played anybody. I'm not sure I'm buying what Noah Fafita and company are selling. And then the last one is Auburn at Texas A&M. I think this one's the least likely because of what I mentioned. Auburn had a dogfight with Oklahoma. Texas A&M was sitting at home. Auburn has to go to your place and play. Yeah, I think that's least likely. Schedule dynamic-wise, not a great spot for Auburn. Next up, we have the picks, ladies and gentlemen. We have the picks. Let me take a sip here, and we'll dive right into the picks. If you're not following on social media here, at Ian Fritts Show on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, that is where my official record is being kept on Twitter there for my picks week in and week out. I believe this year we are 8 games above 500 with the picks. So we're above 500, about 55%. Pretty good. Could be better. We would like a strong week this week, and I expect us to have one because the gut instincts on this week were strong, ladies and gentlemen. They were strong. They were very, very strong. Okay, first up, Florida State at Virginia. We just talked about it. I believe in Florida State. Give me them minus 6.5. I don't care. TCU at Arizona State, minus 2.5. You're thinking, isn't TCU ranked, not Arizona State? What? How's Arizona State favored? It's at home. It's at Sun Devil Stadium. I've been there. That stadium stinks, by the way. That stadium is very poor. Very poor. Give me TCU. I love Josh Hoover. Mississippi State gave the blueprint on how to beat Arizona State. TCU offensively can do the exact same thing. Josh Hoover, and they have 2 stud wide receivers. Give me TCU to cover. They don't even have to win, but I like them to lose by less than 2.5 if they lose. Georgia Tech at Wake Forest. Battle of the gold. Battle of the color gold. I love Wake Forest in this one. Couldn't tell you why, but the gut was very strong in taking the 14.5 there. USC at Illinois. USC might put up 700 points. Indiana just put up 63. I like USC to put up 1 billion on the Fighting Illini. Notre Dame, Fighting Irish at Arkansas. I love Arkansas to cover the 6.5. In fact, I have Arkansas winning this football game. Give me the Razorbacks to win this one at home. Keep Sam Pittman alive, baby. Utah State at Vanderbilt. First time these two teams have ever played. Doesn't matter. Vandy runs them out of the building because that is what they will do. Ohio State at Washington. Give me Washington to cover the 9.5. I don't think they'll win, but I love them to cover 9.5. Ole Miss, you already know. Give me them. I would probably take them minus 5.5. would probably be where I would switch to LSU on that. Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M minus 6.5, and then Indiana minus 6.5 at Iowa. Some people are saying that Indiana game at Iowa is a trap game. I do not believe that that could possibly be a trap game. Here's why. Indiana has a bye week next week. You're thinking, oh, what are they? How's that a trap game? You're thinking, a lot of people, trap game is big time game, sleeper game, big time game. Indiana had the big time game against Illinois. They have this sleeper game against Iowa. And then they have Oregon as their next game. However, they have that bye week in between. So I'm not buying this being a trap game at all from Indiana. Give me Indiana minus 6.5. Here we go. Tennessee minus 9.5 at Mississippi State. I love Mississippi State in that one. I'm not sure they'll win, but it would not shock me if they ended up winning that football game. Give me Iowa State minus 6.5. Give me Penn State minus 3.5. Georgia minus 2.5. Missouri, no line on that game yet. And then BYU at Colorado is a really interesting football game. We know a little bit about Colorado. They have a lot of turmoil at the quarterback position. They've played all three of their guys. All three of them haven't looked great. BYU, nobody really knows what's going on in Mormontown there. But give me BYU. Give me the Cougars to cover the 6.5. That is all the game picks. That is the entire show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below. Comment what you disagree with, what picks you're riding with this week, and I will respond to you. I love you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game.
25, 40, 45, 50, 40.